Do you feel like sales came naturally to you, or was it something that like you really had to work on to grow your business?
The reason some of my first businesses failed is because of me avoiding the important part, which is the sales.
If you have that competitive fire inside you, like that's such a superpower.
You have to be passionate about what you do, because if you're not passionate, when things get hard, you're gonna quit.
The quality of your life is dependent on the quality of the questions you ask.
My guy Splash joining the podcast today. Special guest, first guest we have outside of our students, somebody who's been a dear friend of mine for a couple years. Super excited to have you on here. I think you have a lot of, I think you and I have a lot of similar values, similar ideologies, but we're in, pretty different businesses. So, let's kind of kick this off. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do, and, what got you here, and we'll go from there.
For sure. First of all, thank you guys for having me on.
Welcome, bro. Welcome to
Pleasure.
the pod.
Yeah, big fan, I guess I can say, of you guys. I watch all you guys' videos individually and see you guys every day. But my main thing has always been email marketing, I would say, from the start. So whether that be providing email marketing as a service or providing, consulting for email marketing or email marketers specifically, that's what I do. It's always been email since I first started. And how I got started was just like many people online, man. I'm just trying to like make money online because that concept was like so foreign to me. And just getting first introduced to this whole world through actually Ty Lopez, the SMMA course, like that is what introduced me to like this whole online world of making money. He had even started an agency that was going to help like fitness owners. But the thing is, like, I did everything but the most important part, which was the sales. I did all the making the website, I'm going to offer this, all that, but I never really did the things which matter, which was the sales part of it. Then I got into drop shipping. And drop shipping is actually how I made my first dollar online, but then I would do my P&L at the end of the month and then realize I barely made money. Like I was better off just working, So, but what drop shipping did help me with was it gave me a lot of different skills. It helped me run ads. It helped me do email marketing. It helped me understand customer service, understand how to like even just like run a business, even though it's such a small scale business. But that having that skill of email marketing, I was able to leverage that skill when I met someone that was doing a lot with drop shipping, and I had no money at that time because my stores had failed. I was just starting out my personal brand as like the email guy, and this guy who was making like $15,000 a day, something just made me want to just pitch him on email marketing because I saw it as an option, something I did for my own drop shipping stores. And again, then I was so broke, I would have taken probably like $300-400, but he was making so much money. I was like, yo, I'm just going to charge him $2,000, which I thought was a lot of money then, I'm like, I'm going to charge him $2,000 to write these emails. Wrote the emails for him. I'm like so happy because that money like just changed a lot for me because, it gave me the resource to do a lot of things like book a trip to go to like this event I want to go to in New York, even get braces. I've always wanted to get braces, things like that. But I made that guy an extra $12,000 that month, and it just hit me, man. It was just like a light bulb click switch when it was just like, this is such a win-win situation. It didn't like, because with drop shipping, even though I made money, like there was a little bit of like this guilty consciousness I had because I knew the product I'm providing isn't the best, like they literally could get a cheap alternative. I'm just like being a middleman and marking it up at a very high price. But with this, it's like, yo, the business owner is benefiting and I'm benefiting.
Yep.
And pretty much since then, like I just went all in, went to email marketing, just started providing that as a service. And then, slowly people started reaching out to me saying, yo, how do you do this? So I created my own program and helped a lot of people do the same. But that's pretty much the gist of like how I started in this journey was
Right.
like just trying different things out and just like, stacking up the different skills.
So what you were doing, just for the people watching, is you were running emails for e-commerce businesses.
Yes. Yes, setting up these emails. The example I always give is like if you go to your emails, you might even just see from a brand that you engage with saying, "Yo, you left something on your cart," or "Hey, Black Friday promotions coming, Halloween, etc." Like we would set those up.
Nice.
We'll set those emails up for the businesses.
So that $2,000 deal, that was like your first high ticket close, huh?
That was
that was like a big deal for you. How did
Oh
you
my God.
how did you go about closing that deal?
that one. It was trying to make this guy just like understand the benefits of emails. I was trying to just like use everything I had learned,
Was
like
this a sales call or all through email?
honestly, no, it was, I had to get on a call with this guy. I think what helped was that it was a little bit of a warmer lead. It came through a referral. It came through a friend. So it was like, I just had to do, like, I had to do 2 calls, but for me convincing him, in the beginning, he was like, why am I going to just pay you? He didn't understand the value of emails, but once I kind of slowly educated him on it, then he kind of, he saw the value in it. And to a point, honestly, like I didn't even do the best closing job because I'm pretty sure I took the payment like after. I was like, yo, let me just get you started. He just verbally agreed on it. But even that meant a lot for me, at that time. Like,
Yeah.
again, I honestly didn't learn sales properly until I interned with, so that summer, I interned with Brandon Carter. And then when he would do sales calls, he would like invite me into his room and just have me listen to him close, and that helped me out a lot. Like with sales, I would say.
I feel like so on that first call you were kind of just like selling him on it, right? Like you were like explaining the value of email, right? You were saying what you could do, like you were breaking it all down. And were you getting any like resistance, or like was there any
Yeah.
like questions or doubt or anything like that?
Objections?
Yeah. I
Didn't
think
think about
again, he was a younger kid, so they all knew like, yo, run ads and like make money, but I don't think many of them understood the importance of email. So there was like that transition I had to make them go through in their mind of like, yo, like making them believe that this email thing is actually important, because I guess it's a bit different now. Like people do know emails is important, but then like, especially to a younger person that's just drop shipping, that just maybe got lucky with the product, he's probably not thinking of like long-term email like
Right,
actual different
yeah,
marketing
yeah.
platforms. So it was like, yeah, like I had to do that part where I had to like convince him that, yo, this is actually even just important for your business, even if I'm not involved, this aspect of your business.
Was there ever like, because this is you at like you're like 16, 17 at the time,
Yeah,
right?
I'm still in senior year in high school.
Okay, so like 17, 18.
Yeah.
Was there, because I know when I was first getting into sales, like it's as much of a personal development game as it is sales training and sales tactics and scripts, right?
Right.
And like having the confidence to, hop on a call and have poise and ask for a lot of money from somebody, right? Do you think like do you feel, and I'm curious because I see you on sales calls now, like you work at the office all the time, like I see you on calls every once in a while. Do you feel like sales came naturally to you, or was it something that like you really had to work on to grow your business?
It's something I have to work on, and I feel like I still have to work on, because there was almost like a period where I just didn't take any sales calls. I just outsourced it. But that's one of those skills. No, man, like growing up, I was like very like, I was almost like afraid to talk to people on the phone,
Yeah.
like genuinely, I really was, bro. I used to like very
Yeah.
shy. It was a huge thing for me, bro. Like that's why I told you, like the reason some of my first businesses failed is because of me avoiding the important part, which is the sales, like the friction, the talking to people, the being okay with being rejected, the objections, all of that. So I think like the Brandon Carter thing helped a lot, like him kind of just instilling that confidence, and like seeing him do it, it kind of gave me like a little bit of a framework and also more confidence that I could do it.
What were some of the things you learned from Brandon? Like when it comes to just sales?
I think just the way he like the structure, just how he just handled it. How he had authority, the tonality side of things as well. How he would just take them on a journey from like just them just getting on the call to by the end of the call like giving him thousands of dollars for his program. Like I think before like many people, maybe like I had a stigma when it came to sales. I thought I had to be like this, like, yo, like, like hard on, like this aggressive person. But I just saw like how if you do it properly, like they almost like sell themselves on it, right? And that was like something very interesting because like again, I the last thing what's funny is I actually did like lead generation, which was like sales in person. But it's very, very different than like online sales when you're like getting the close there. For me, it was like when I worked at Home Depot, I was just trying to get the lead, but like actually getting the sale, and seeing him do it so naturally without like them being like crazy. Even if there was an objection, again, like it was like them selling themselves on it, then like him like hard closing. I think that was like great for me to see, and that helped me out a lot as well.
And then you started taking sales calls after that, like more? Or you
Yeah,
also
yeah.
stayed-
Then like it started helping my, because I think I was very timid when I would get on calls with people that wanted to work with me, and I think I started like being more like I started having like more authority on these calls and started being more of an enforcer and like being okay
More
with
confidence.
more confidence, asking these questions, being okay with objections and if there is frictions. So, yeah, I think it helped me a lot with that, and then just again, just seeing him do it as well, like that helped a lot. And then the reps, man. I think after a while, it was just like second nature for me, especially if I'm selling like my service. After I got some good results, like after I had that confidence in myself and my service, then it was like it became second nature, And I had closed a couple of times. It became second nature as to like like I know what I'm doing.
How did that first sale kind of like shift things for you? Because like I remember for myself, when I was not so much the home service business, but my first e-com sale, selling hoverboards.
Yeah.
Shit, I remember seeing a $300 sale come in. I'm like, all right, my life's changing. you know.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I had, I was doing sales. I remember my first close. You know what's interesting? It's like there's like two types of people in this world, right? I feel like for some people, let's say in sales, let's say you're on 10% commission, right? Say you have, like a 10K day in sales, you made $1,000. I remember when I made $1,000 in one day, to me, I was like, shit, if I do this every day, that's 30K a month. But then there's other people being like, if I could, make $1,000, 5 times a month, I'm good, I'm comfortable, right? So I feel like that first sale kind of dictates the trajectory of your career and your goals. So when you kind of made that first sale, what came next?
I would say like a huge amount of just like self-confidence
Yeah.
and actually believing that like my goals are possible, because
Yep.
I will tell you, leading up to that first sale and like those months, like I would write like every month, because I would hear it online from Ty and stuff, like write your monthly goals, and I would write like, yeah, this month I'll make 10,000 a month, this time, whatever. But like I never believed it, man. But I remember I think after that first sale, like I remember like moments like I'm on like the transit going from downtown back to home, like because I used to like just go downtown. Like I remember genuinely believing like that, oh, I can make 20,000 this month, like, and like not just saying it, but like actually believing that I could do it. And I would watch a lot of Grant Cardone then, and he would have sayings like, who's got my money?
Yeah.
Shit like that. And I'll be like, yo, someone has my money? Like, yo, who has my money? Like, let me go get it. And then I think, again, I started playing more offense than defense, I would say. I think when in the past I'm just like,
big.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like I'm relying on maybe people coming to me or like just being okay with good enough. After, then it's like I said, like who's got my money? Like I would go out my way and find people, leverage my network, be like, okay, these guys do e-com. I know they're not doing emails. Let me reach out to them.
Yeah.
Even if they might say no, like being willing to take the call, being okay with the rejection, putting myself out there as well and being like comfortable doing so. Not really, like I got made fun of in high school for making videos, but I'm like, bro, I could, that concept couldn't even like, it didn't even affect me, because I'm like, bro, me doing this leads to money. So like, why would I not do this?
I feel like, and I feel like that first sale is what sets the tone,
It does.
right? Even the first few calls, like even when we hire people, we know when somebody's going to be good and when somebody's like not, like almost every time somebody's a top producer, they get a sale on the first few days, first week, right? And then people who turn out not to be so good, typically they get no sales in the, first little bit. And some people, go on and develop and really put in the work, but it's like that first sale, those first conversations where you step out of your comfort zone, and in your case, like stop relying on referrals and really, kind of say, fuck it, this is on me, and have that accountability where it's like, you eat what you kill. I feel like that's as a trajectory of your entire business, your entire career, your entire outlook, it's like, that's it, you know?
Yeah, and like even what you said, like going on the offensive rather than the defensive, you know, like that's the exact thing that we see with a new rep, right? Like whether they close a deal or not, it's like you want to see like are they willing to go on the offensive, right?
100%.
Meaning like, you know, okay, like for example, we ran a test run with a few reps a couple weeks back, right? I gave them 1,000 leads each. Of just like old calls, and I'm like, listen guys, like you got 2 weeks, whoever performs, you know, great, you'll have a shot, but like I just want to see what you guys are made of, right? Go make something happen. And like that's literally what we're testing for. Like, can they go on the offensive? Are they worried about rejection, or are they willing to, you know, call leads, call people up in the middle of their day, right? Have someone be like, hey, I'm busy, and they're like, hey, well, like let me talk to you for 2 minutes here and see if we can do something, right? I think that's really the key to sales. Like you can't teach that, is, you know, going on the offensive, going for it, asking for the sale, asking for the close, you know, regardless of rejection or your own fear of whatever limiting beliefs you have.
You know, it's funny though, and like in our case, we literally tell people, hey, get through this and the grass is green on the other fucking side. Like they know what they're walking into,
Yep.
right? Whereas like for you, or like I think all of us, when we started, like we didn't really have that kind of, we'll call it proof of concept in our heads, where it's like we knew that if we do this, 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 and this, we'll see results. Right. So it's like it's just funny. Like some people are so fucking mentally weak that they know they are guaranteed a certain outcome and they still won't do the fucking work. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, well, like it all starts with mindset, right? Like with anything, and like even probably a lot of the people that you work with, right? Like you can give them all the sauce, like you can literally reverse engineer everything that works within your business, right? But like if the mindset is raggedy, then it doesn't matter what somebody does, you know?
Yeah.
I think it also comes down to the motivation, because like, yeah, this guy said raggedy.
That's crazy.
Bro, we know a lot of people with a raggedy ass fucking mindset, so we're going to say no names, but
But what I was saying is like,
come on, man.
it comes back down to like that motivation, because like when you're talking about offensive, I feel like that adrenaline rush, like you don't even talk about the adrenaline ruch you probably got when you close that first 2K, because you want to like chase that feeling. It's not only like the money and the close, but what was that adrenaline rush for you? Like that first close, 2K, paid in full, what was that like?
It was very, very like exhilarating, bro, and exciting, right? Just like, and I was just telling you recently as well, as I've been doing some sales calls myself, like how when I got my first close again, like that feeling felt like I just took a shot of heroin, you know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, I'm so addicted, like, man, I just want to get on more calls and close. Same feeling I had then, you know, it was just like, bro, I used to play this. It's so funny we're using his name now, but P Diddy's video of him saying like, you know when he's on the phone, he's like, I'm a
have
beast.
to win.
Yo, after a call, I'll literally just play that video and I just get so hyped. Like, like I'll just play that I'm a beast video of that P Diddy video, just get energized.
Like, whatever I want, I have to get.
Yeah, dog. I literally used to feel like that, you know, and that's why I used to play that video. It used to just pump me up, and it was like a high I was chasing, bro. It was like definitely like a high I was chasing. I was just trying to, like, again, try to get as many calls as possible, just knowing like, yo, like, you know, like I could. And to me that was so much money back then. Even back to like before emails, even my drop shipping, you know, like when I sold, there was this one day when I was in Nepal, and then I did the whole like accounting on my notebook, and I made like $382 US in profit. And I was like, bro, like I was so addicted, like I came back and quit my job, you know, because I was just like, yo, like this online money is just the wave. Even though like, you know, I had some slow months after that and a lot of like obstacles before I made like consistent money again, but like no, I was really, really addicted and just like excited.
Did you play any? I know you played basketball growing up, but like, were you on like sports teams? Like, were you competitive?
Yeah, like every other sports team you can think of, minus high school because of my knee. I know that's gonna laugh,
Crazy.
yeah. I even like I was in the volleyball team. Any team I could be in, bro, I'll just join, bro. Like if I had the skill, I just love playing sports. So, you know, I was in the basketball team, the volleyball team. I was even in soccer team for 1 year. What else? Whatever sports they offered, bro, I tried it, man. I enjoyed it.
Do you feel like playing sports growing up and like being competitive, like do you think that's part of the reason why like you were able to, you know, build a business at a young age and see the kind of success you did?
100%. I think that, and also with school, man, like I think just like having that discipline, of because outside of sports competition, I think even in school, bro, like competition for marks, even though it's like such a competition that doesn't really make, it's not, it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
mean as much when I look back at it. But like competing with other kids around and like them getting better marks, I'm like, fuck, I want to do better in this class than you. It was like it was a thing for me for sure, bro. And that discipline definitely led to me staying consistent with my business and stuff. And even in business, like the competition of seeing someone else doing better than you, or seeing someone that's on another level than you, and you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
shit, man, like I
yeah.
wanna work to get there. It's like a healthy competition. Like I've had that along the way in school, in sports. People in basketball doing better than me, pushing me to be better the next season or whatever. Same with the marks, and same with business. Is like, damn, like this guy's crushing it. It's like, fuck, I wanna do better as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that competitive element, it helps me to this, for sure. I still have that now,
Yeah.
and I think it's very important to have that, because I've had it the other side where I like kind of ignored that and I just like didn't do much.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't feel like you don't feel as like alive. I feel like that's like where you start thriving, is when you like get excited over that.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like for me, like I was always I was kind of the same thing, right? Like playing every single sport that I could. Like for me, it was always sports, right? And getting into sales and all of this, and like you're pushing your comfort zone, like you're doing something that you're not that good at the beginning, But I think it's if anyone's like watching this podcast, right, and maybe you're not like happy with the results that you have or whatever, it's like if you have that competitive fire inside you, like that's such a superpower, Like I feel like for me, like having that competitiveness, like right off the bat, like I wasn't necessarily like skilled or like gifted with charisma or anything like that when it comes to sales, but what I did have was that competitiveness, and because I had that, that pushes you to push past whatever limiting beliefs or mindset that you have. Again, back to like the feeling of closing that deal, right? It's like you just want to go for it, you want to get it, right? I think that competitiveness is that's the number one character trait that really we look for in new sales reps, right? Skill set aside, experience aside, like if they have that competitive fire, then amazing, right? They have a future here, No, but that's.
You say something, Dylan, about this competitor? Yeah, I think I would want to say something about it. Maybe word.
I think it's important for sure. It's like, because it's like, I think I don't remember. I think it was maybe Steve Jobs who said this, but or maybe. Yeah, I think it was Steve Jobs. He has a quote that goes, you have to be passionate about what you do, because if you're not passionate, when things get hard, you're going to quit, right? And it's only like the passion that could essentially like push you through all the difficult times. I think it's the same thing kind of here with, that competitive drive, right? It's like if you're not naturally a little bit competitive, it's like you'll be okay with not closing deals that you could have closed. You'll be okay with settling for less. You'll be okay with other people outclosing you, So I think it's like for everything, I it's like, what is talent, right? Think about talent, right? And dancing or music or something. Like you got to be a little bit, your brain has to be artistic, right? I feel like in sales, your brain has to be competitive, right? I think it's like when people say, are you naturally a sales guy? Or like, are you a natural closer? I'm like, to me, that sounds like, are you naturally competitive?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think that's what that like underlying talent is in sales, right? Yeah. But I was just thinking too, because like you start also in sales now that I think about it.
Yeah, actually, my first, even the lead generation is like that
That's
was
still sales.
that
right?
is I was gonna say like that was one of the best things to ever happen to me, because I grew up so again shy, being very timid, just being very closed off, introverted, I guess you can say. And that job and the person that hired me, I guess my first mentor, like he was big on just talking to everyone, and just like he taught me a lot about like sales principles without even thinking about sales. Like for example, like I would have the leads I closed or leads I had generated the day before on my table, even on a fresh day, because I knew, okay, people would trust me more if they already see that other people have signed up. Things like that. Like I would learn these sales principles just like naturally, just through him, and just like, and also I remember just getting to the point where rejection meant nothing, because I would literally be approaching hundreds of people a day at Home Depot while they're shopping, literally yelling at them saying, do you want duct cleaning, carpet cleaning, or upholstery cleaning, you know, like
Legend.
trying to sell them something they probably don't even need. That helped a lot as well, was like the rejection side of thing. I remember watching one of these one Brandon Carter videos where he's like, each no is the closer to yes. So if anything, I would even just try to go for no's, and just like I desensitize myself to the no, you know. And that definitely helped a lot. I would say when I started my business as well, just like having that experience.
Right.
And again, like sales is the most important part, because a lot of the reason a lot of my previous endeavors didn't work was because I was avoiding the most important part, which is the sales, right? Like I said, I made the websites, I did everything, but I didn't do the sales, which is what matters the most.
I mean, when it comes down to emails, like sales is, you know, you talking to somebody, right? And emails is you selling someone through emails
Through
and
writing,
through copy.
through
So
words.
once, you know, the Home Depot, shadowing Brandon Carter, closing your first couple deals, like you felt like that helped you become a better copywriter and a better
100%.
email writer?
Yeah, because when you talk to people, you start understanding a lot about people, how people work, what motivates them, what interests them, whatever, XYZ, you know, like almost like human psychology.
Yep.
And in copywriting, that definitely helps a lot. And also just talking to people, you understand people better. And the better you understand people, especially in writing, like that's like, I would say 90% of it is like, if you know your people like inside out, like you know exactly what you need to say in order to get them to do the action you want them to do, you know, whether it be like click a link, book a call, XYZ, whatever it might be. So yeah, no, it again, if you just remove if you remove all the jargon out of email marketing, the segmentation, the XYZ is like, it's just another communication platform. It's just another way to communicate with people, right? But through words. So when you just see it that way, you realize, oh, like where it does interconnect.
Something that, you know, I train our team on a lot, and like I find myself repeating myself and saying this so much, actually came from it's one of Dan Kennedy's principles that he talks about a lot, right? Like master copywriter, one of the goats, one of the pioneers of copywriting in general, right? It's you know, explain your prospect's problem to them better than they could to you, right? Like say what they're actually experiencing and the pain that they're having and the problem that they have. Explain it to them better than they could themselves, right? And I find myself, you know, doing that a lot on sales calls, right? Where it's like you just said, it's like showing your prospect, whether it's through email or whether it's you're just speaking to them, right? Where you explain, hey, this is your problem. This is why you're struggling with it. This is the emotion that you're feeling. And just doing that, like this is from what I understand, like that's a massive part of any kind of copywriting, right? Is just showing them, hey, I get your problem, right?
Yeah. You need to understand that you can, you know, relate to them, then they're more likely to like listen to you. Quick question on your guys' side, because you know you guys have done selling for like B2C services or B2C products / services and B2B. What would you say is like the difference, let's say selling a coaching program versus selling like a marketing service, and what are the differences and the similarities when it comes to selling, you know, those two type of different those two different markets and niches?
Zoe, you want to answer this one?
I mean, I'll tell you what the similarity is first, and then the difference. I think most people make it out to be a lot more different than it actually is, right? It's really, you know, I don't look at it as B2B or B2C. I look at it, you know, we're selling to people, right? And a lot of people who are in B2B forget that, right? Especially like enterprise sales is a little bit different, but B2B, business is not enterprise, right? So on the B2B side, if a business owner wants to invest into marketing, into copy, into anything else, they want to do it so that they have a certain result in that business. And then the certain result in that business will change their personal life, right? So I think a lot of people just kind of forget that, and they focus on like, okay, well, what would it do for your business and business and business and business, and never really tie in the fact that, hey, if this person wants to make more money in their business, that money will then ultimately flow to the business owner so that it'll change their personal life, right? If they want to implement certain tools or, you know, resources or outsource emails, what will that allow them to do in their, again, personal life? It'll free their time up, right? So I think the biggest similarity is that we're still selling to people. The biggest difference is that there's just an added step with a B2B, because it's no longer, how will X, with B2C, it's how will doing X, change things for you. It's with B2B, it's, how will doing X impact your business and then impact you.
Mm-hmm.
So just that one added step. But, nonetheless, like, people forget, sales is a people game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I feel like too, because I saw a meme recently on Twitter, where it's like when you ask a CEO, like, oh, so how would that make you feel? Right. And then it was like a funny fucking picture of just, the CEO just like roasting the sales guy. Right. Because it's like, yeah, with a B2C versus a B2B, like I think you got to go about getting to those like emotions and getting to the personal impact in a different way.
Yeah.
Like you can't just go direct with it, because a more sophisticated type of a buyer, like they know what you're trying to do. Like they know that you're trying to get their emotions up. And a lot of the times, I was actually talking about this yesterday, a lot of the times when you ask a question like that, so how would that make you feel? Instantly they're like, okay, this guy's trying to do some salesy bullshit that he saw on a fucking YouTube video. and then instantly, because they recognize that, they'll just throw up a wall and be like, yeah, it would literally change nothing for me. I would feel exactly the same. This would do nothing for me. And then you're back to square one, So I think
that for sure.
I think a big part of it is from what I've learned, because yeah, like selling to both sides, like the super unsophisticated side of the market and the really sophisticated 7 and 8 figure entrepreneurs. I think it comes down to the way that they perceive you. I find, especially whenever I deal with like business owners or people who are doing bigger things, I don't want to be perceived as a salesperson.
Right.
I don't want to be perceived, even like if I'm on the cold call list and I'm just outbound dialing people. Like I want to have the frame of an expert and someone who knows what they're doing, And I think for me, a big turning point was, especially when I started with unsophisticated offers and going to more sophisticated stuff, a big turning point was just like learning a lot more, right? And being able to ask a lot more intelligent questions and getting to those personal impacts in a better way, You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
100%.
That's what you mean.
Tony Robbins has this quote, like, the quality of your life is dependent on the quality of the questions you ask. And especially when you're speaking to sophisticated buyers, people who are already successful. Because a lot of the B2C world, like when you're speaking to consumers, like they might not have the same success or accomplishments that a business owner would have. And, you can't ask those, how does that make you feel sort of question, because then, like you mentioned, a wall goes up, right? But exactly what you just said, like the more intelligent questions you ask, the more sophisticated questions you ask are what's going to help you get to like a core pain, core problem.
Like even like sometimes like throwing in a story where it's like, oh wow, that's really interesting that you say that. And I was actually having like you might have a conversation with someone and that there's a pain point there, but they're not saying it, right? And then you'd be like, okay, cool. And then you'd be like, hey, it's interesting that you say that, because I actually had a conversation with another business owner like 2 weeks ago, and he was in a similar business. And what he was telling me was crazy. He was experiencing X, Y, and Z, and it was actually affecting like his personal life and his marriage. Are you seeing anything like that, or are you guys good right now? Right? Were you like, there has to be some finesse to it, right? Like there has to be, a little bit more of that, I feel like.
Yeah, I like that.
What you just did, like it's having fun too, because a lot of people would say that in like a very serious tone, but like the fact that you were casual, laid back with it, it's almost dismissing the pain point, so it gets them to explain that pain point even more.
And it's like, I think to the point that you said is like, these guys know the tricks, the tips, like the tone. Like if you talk to them like how you talk to someone that's just starting out, like I think like you said, they definitely put that wall because they're like, bro, this guy trying some sales tactic on me. Versus it's like a genuine conversation. I think sometimes people just forget it's just like a simple, genuine conversation.
Yeah.
Where again, not feeling like you're trying to sell me, but you're trying to genuinely understand my problem and like trying to help me find a solution. And then like, all right, like, let me try to sell you this.
Yeah, because that's a good point, because the radar for like, I feel like, and on a B2B, right? Like the radar for salesiness and sales resistance is going to be a lot higher, right? So like the moment that they catch some shit, they'll be like, like I hear a lot of people saying like, oh, they'll start out the call this way. And every time I see this shit on Instagram, I'm like, oh my God, like what are you doing? And people start out their calls with, hey, so yeah, Splash, just by the end of this call, I just want a yes or no decision based on everything, and we'll take it from there, you know? And it's like, yo, like if you say something like that, like instantly, especially if you're dealing with anyone who has any type of IQ or whatever, like they're just going to be like, okay, this guy's a fucking clown.
Yeah.
You know, this guy's just trying to go like alpha mode on me and like trying to pull some weird salesy shit. Like, no.
If anything, the opposite has worked on me. I remember before I was working with someone, this was like in 2020, on the first call, like she actually just said that. She's like, honestly, just want to make sure here, I'm not going to pitch you anything. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just genuinely want to understand. She got me,
and
man.
then they pitch you.
And then they pitch you on the next call. But the way she did that, I was like, it felt so natural. I definitely brought my guard down, because she's like, yo, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm trying to understand your problems. And I took that, you know.
Knowing you, I think you were probably just paying attention to other things. But
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yo, this girl's
That is
sweet.
crazy, man. But no, when she said that and like genuinely try to, you know, understand my business, I did have my guard down. She did pitch me the next call, but I guess it was better.
Yeah,
than,
you were like, oh, nice. Like, this is great.
Yeah,
Like, I don't have to worry about
it. Felt
no-
more natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think I had another question like that. Do you guys, I don't know, maybe this is a question for Dylan, you know, for your agency clients and all, like.
I just closed a 9K sale.
Nice.
There you go.
Live.
There you go.
ABC, always be closing.
Yeah, when it
baby.
comes to, I guess, closing, like, you know, these higher ticket deals, is this sometimes just like, when the sales cycle is longer, or for you it's like agency where like you know, is it more relationship based, or, you know, how do you see that, like those type of deals?
You're talking about clients?
Yeah, clients trying to sell, you know, client like your clients where it's more long term, bigger deal,
Yeah.
more involved, you know. I'm assuming it's like.
I mean,
sizzling,
look,
like
here's the
one
thing.
call, 2 call close or whatever.
I don't even look at it as a close, you know, like, to be honest, not many people that do what we do, especially to the level. And then it's like, you know, when I get on a call with somebody and, you know, talk about taking over the sales, and then I have the track record of us running Ty Lopez's sales team for multiple years and doing very significant revenue. And, you know, the other, like, you know, Misha says all the time, but like, I'm probably the least known but most connected guy in our space, you know, like, fuck, I know.
I would agree with that.
And it's like, it's not even like a flex, but it's like, yo, I run fuck Ty, I run, you know, I can't drop all these names on here, but I fucking run a lot of big people sales teams, and here's the proof, and here's a real office, not just this, like, you know, remote stuff. You know, so it's like, it's hard to, you know, argue with that. But then that's like on the, you know, client relationship level. In terms of closing higher ticket deals though, like, you know, 50Ks, 100Ks, I honestly find that for me, it's easier. For most people, it's harder because they lack the confidence and conviction. For me, if I get on a call, like, I can sell whatever the fuck. Like, I've sold your stuff live, not knowing even what I'm selling until you kind of tell me live. But I have so much conviction and confidence in my sales abilities. It's not even so much about what I'm selling, but it's confidence in me that, you know, hey, when this objection comes up or this question comes up, I've dealt with it a million times, right? So it's not even like I need to be an expert in the program, but I just trust my skills to such a high level that it's like, you know, people who are applying for 100K programs have money, you know? So it's like, it's the confidence and the conviction and authority that sells them.
And not only the skills, but also the belief, right? Because at the end of the day, it's just a number. Like, I remember the first day or one day you closed like a 100K deal, or like that private jet mastermind you were selling, Dylan. You walked into the office. It was like 6, 7 o'clock. We're all dialing. We're all closing. And you just come in and you're like, yeah, I just closed like a 150K deal. Wire sent, close. And I'm like, dude, how do you feel? And you're like, what do you mean? Like, this is light work. This is normal. And it just goes to show, it's like, well,
Dimitri just closed a 9K too.
Nice.
Let's go.
ABC. Shout out you, Dimitri.
Shout out Demetrius.
But yeah, no, that belief is what really also helps with the confidence and helps with the skills. Because at the end of the day, what's the difference between a 100K deal and 10K, 5K? It's just a number. Like, the conversation is going to be very similar.
Yeah, there was something. There was a question I asked you once about that, actually, when it comes to, you know, clients and being the most well-known guy in the space. the least well-known guy in the space with the most credibility. There was a question I asked you once, right? And it's you know, and I asked you once, right? Because you're over here, bro, and like at your age, like the guys that you rub shoulders with, the guys that you work directly with, and just build relationships with, that it seems like it's just effortless, you know. Like that's always been something that, you know, I've respected and admired a lot about you. And I remember I asked you once because there was a you know a client who went out to an event. You know, you were out there, one thing led to another, and you made something happen, right? And I asked you like, hey, like for me, right, someone who's you know, I started in sales and now we're growing, learning new skill sets, building our own brands, our own networks. Like how do you you know, get the attention of like the biggest player in the room, right? How do you start a conversation with them? How do you connect after you meet them? Like what does that look like? And me, I was asking that question from like the sales side of me of like, okay, what's the framework? Like what's the what's the process, you know? But what you told me was so simple, but you know, it shifted a belief for me. It was, you know, it's just game recognizing game,
100%,
right? It's
100%.
just, can you talk a little bit
Bro,
about
I believe
that?
in that so fucking firmly. Like, is that not crazy? Like, it's so crazy to me. Even now, like, it's not crazy, but it is crazy. Like, how is it possible, and I'll drop some names, but how is it possible that, you know, at fucking, 21 years old, I landed, what was it, 21? No, 20 years old, or 19, I don't fucking remember. I landed Ty Lopez, the biggest fucking influencer, bro, at the time, for sure. Biggest influencer in the space. And, you know, leading up to that, I had a couple smaller clients. After Ty Lopez, worked with a couple other big names. After that, met Eric Spofford, who I'm now also very, very good, you know, good client, very good relationship. He's, you know, like a partner and mentor to me, and like all these other people. And it's like, I never really like tried and seeked it, you know, but it was always just like, I have value that I could add to them, right? At the time, anyway, I needed, you know, to prove to Ty that we're good, obviously, and we did, but he needed a sales team too, you know? So it's like, it just, again, exchange in value, right? Same thing with Eric. But even think about how I met Eric Spofford, right? I met Eric at one of Ty Lopez's events. He came to one of Ty's events where I was selling off stage. That's how I met Eric. And then we went out for dinner a few days later, hit it off. He needed a sales team, hit me up, you know? And then Eric connected me with all these other people. So it's like, honestly, it's all an exchange of value, right? And it's like, rich people hang around rich people. Successful people hang around successful people. You can't be broke and, you know, not have skill and not have value and somehow miraculously just put yourself in the room. Mm-hmm. You know how people always say, put yourself in the room? For me, it's like you get placed in the room. Yeah. You don't put yourself in the fucking room. You know, like you can't just, you know, just because you feel like it and you want to, you can't just join, you know, Eric on his yacht when I'm there and Eric's there and Justin Waller's there and, you know, all these other success. You can't just fucking put yourself in there, right? You got to become of value, right? And then it's like, I mean, this is a whole other topic, but like in terms of networking, bro, it's like a lot of people network totally wrong. You know, they network with the intention of like shaking as many hands as possible. It's like they make networking a fucking door-to-door sales game. That's not what it is. It's like, if you want to network, again, you got to be of value, and then naturally, you'll be connected with people who are of value.
Yeah, and I think I feel like a lot of people too, they like network like selfishly.
Oh,
like,
so
like they're
selfish.
thinking like, what's in it for me? But like when they're even when they're just talking, and like it's even in like in sales, if you have a weird intention, it just comes across, and people just feel it.
People can tell, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like there's
And a lot of people are just fucking awkward too.
Yeah.
You know, they like, I see this all the time when I'm like hanging around with these all these like successful people. It's like they start their networking with like, hey, can I have a picture? And then they try and fucking talk. Like, that's so weird.
You just lower your status with that.
Yeah. Eric was just talking about this the other day, offline. Just, you know, him and I were talking privately. Eric's fucking very well connected. He knows. He was just with Rich the kid.
Yeah.
This guy knows everybody, but it's like,
Plug
you know,
walk.
and we were talking about that, and it's like the reason he knows so many celebrities is because he doesn't treat them like celebrities. He just treats them like person to person, you know? You know, so it's like, you also can't, if you somehow manage to get in the room, which I hope you all do one day, don't be that fucking weird guy being like, hey, you know? Like, that's
Yeah.
fucking weird.
What's your childhood like?
What?
What was your childhood
There
like?
was yeah. Anyways,
Splash, you know fucking a lot of people too, bro. You network with, you're a great networker, bro.
Yeah, I think it's the exact same thing what you said is like people where well it's not I always say is like if you're the wrong person in the right room, like it wouldn't matter, right? Like for me, like I was the guy of like, yo, like DMing people like, yo, I see you do ecom,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I would love to connect, and like they leave you on scene, but the same people a year later might hit you back up because you've actually like built something, you know? So I think a huge reason for me, like Dylan said, is like they see value in me one way or another. A lot of times it's just like, oh yo, like you know email stuff, or you've done marketing, you've done this, like yo. A lot of people they just want to stay connected because like the skill that I have or like Dylan has or we have in general, we forget is it can be a whole like it can change the whole business.
let me
around, you
let me
know?
ask you this: when it comes to networking, like how much of it is like reputation and credibility, and how much of it is just like that initial first impression?
I think for especially as like high level people, I think two things. I think it's like the reputation. I think it's who you are and also who you get introduced by as well. I think that matters too because I've been able to just connect with a lot of people because of like the mutuals we have or whatever. The first impression matters as well. Don't get me wrong, but I think some people like they're at certain levels where they even dismiss the first impression unless like you're you know what I'm saying like I guess the perfect example would be like if I was up to just go up to Ty and say what's up versus Dylan, introduce me to Ty, like there's such a huge difference, and I think I've been able to build a lot of my network because of someone introducing me to someone. But that doesn't happen if I don't do all the stuff in the back end of like having an email business, being of value, putting myself out there, things like that, you know. So I would say like yeah, both matter, but especially with high level people, I've noticed is like that matters much more because they're probably getting hit up every single day by someone.
And also like being somebody worth introducing, right?
Exactly, 100%.
Because
That's huge as well.
because if you know you introduce someone to someone else,
Yeah.
you know, like that's a reflection of you at the end of the day,
100%.
right? And you're not going to be introducing nobody to anybody unless
Yeah.
there's someone worth introducing.
Yeah, you can't
right?
just be like, oh, yo, meet this guy. He's cool. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think it's like that. I think it's like, yo, look, this guy's another G. He's done all this. He's valuable in this way, XYZ. Maybe he can help you out or, you know. Yeah, I think you got to have that reputation, and that's built through just you putting in the work. I was always a big believer in like the best networking hack is focus on yourself. Like networking to me is almost effortless because of like, I think it's just like me maybe focusing on myself. I think like when you're like chasing networking, like I see sometimes threads is like here's how you can network yourself to like billionaires, and I'm like that's so cringy. Like pretty much wrote a thread on how to stalk people, you know. I'm like this is so weird, bro. It's like if the billionaire wanted to like network with you, like you know, like it would happen organically, but till then it's like I feel like be someone that's worth a billionaire saying what's up to you, you know. I don't think you can like go to the same restaurant they go to.
I think it all starts with one thing, you know. It's like it starts with a skill,
100%.
then it's one relationship. You do good for that one relationship, they'll introduce you to new people. And I think the reputation thing you guys brought up is huge, you know? Because like, I don't fucking remember the last time I connected anybody with anybody. I actually like literally don't remember. But like they would have to be really fucking good for me to make an introduction, you know? Because it's like, it's my name, you know? And I think a lot of successful people think like that and have the same mindset. Like, yo, unless I could truly, you know, stand behind the introduction, I'm not introducing you, right? So it's like, and again, that comes from like, you know, being skilled and driving good results. But then it's also like, I think it's a lot more than that. I think it's on a personal level too. It's like, you and I connected to begin with because we share the same values. I remember when we first went to Harbor 60, bro, and having, the discussions we did and like even talking politics, like we're very closely aligned. So I think it's like also like a game of really becoming just a good person with the right values and morals, right? Like Eric would never introduce me to the people he's introduced me to if if I was like slimy,
True.
if I was a
That is
scumbag,
true.
right? If I, did anything that wasn't that was shady or something, So it's like, even though I might have skill, if I'm just not a good person, it's like, you're not getting that relationship. He's not going to connect me with anyone, right? He might be okay with me continuing to work with him if that was the case, but he would never introduce me, right? So it's like skills, but also like, who are you? And I know that if Eric introduces somebody to me, I know they're solid.
100%. Yeah.
So I think there's like a few pieces to it.
I've noticed that as well. There's some people, I noticed that there are some people that I know that I'm like, I wouldn't bring these people around certain groups that I know.
For sure.
I've
For
noticed.
sure.
I think that
And
like,
it's
that's
like,
a perfect point.
I don't
you
want to
make.
say there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like,
Yeah.
it's all right, like you're good at what you do, but it's like, I have multiple people like that, you
Yeah,
know? Like,
you
bro,
don't know how they might
culture is
act.
not the same, values are not the
Values are
same, we're
exactly.
just not on the same page,
Exactly.
And,
So,
I used to say this all the time, but like, the people you do business with should be the people you do life with. Like we go out all the fucking time, and it's like, if you want to network with people, don't only think about being the person they want to do business with, also think about being the person they would want to do life with.
that's a really good point, man. I think just maybe our culture, maybe we can speak on is like sometimes like in our culture we like put people with money on a pedestal. It's just how it is. Like if you even see how they treat people with money in India or like Nepal, and how they treat people based just on the hierarchy, especially just having to go back to money. I think like that's the thing I have to get over is like just because this person has money, because it's also worked for me the opposite way where like when I was younger I was so impressionable that I thought I wanted to network with this person because of what they showed,
What they
they have
achieved.
money, and then now I'm like, damn, I honestly wish I never even met this guy. Like if anything, this like
One of my original mentors is like that too. He
No
made a
way,
lot
bro.
of money, but and he has a lot of money still, but it's like, bro, I just see his lifestyle. I'm like, bro, that's not admirable at all.
At all.
But it's like when you're young and like money's like the main goal,
Yeah.
it's like you kind of forget about that. But big picture, it's the other way around. It's like you're cool and you're dope when your values are straight, right? Like I see
100%.
this person, super successful. He was one of my first mentors, and like, bro, I see him post. I still follow him on Instagram, but like I see him posting stories of him like drinking and fucking smoking weed, and like, bro, like, I don't know, man. Like I see that sometimes. I'm like, I get it. You're rich and like you don't need money and you don't need like hyper focus and shit. But I'm like, bro, that's just not admirable. It's like it's not. And then I see other people who don't have as much money as him. I looked up to at one point, but bro, I see how they operate. I see, one of my original mentors who owns a big landscaping company. Bro, I see how he operates, how he built his team. I see him, working all the time. I drive to Roma or wherever, a coffee shop near my house. I see this guy all the time, bro, putting in the work. I have conversations, bro. He speaks about this other stuff, the real estate stuff he does very intelligently. And he's not as loaded as this, other guy, but like that to me is way more admirable. That's the person I want to spend time with,
Goes back to that quote: money doesn't change you, right? It only amplifies who you are.
For sure.
Well, that's a good point when it comes to things like networking with people who you look up to is like prioritizing character over money. Because also some of these people, they make money through the wrong means, man. And I think so many, and I think it's like until you get to know them, they're like, damn, bro, I thought you were like a certain person, but you're just putting up a front, So it's good to go through this, I think, at a young age, because like this shit's gonna go on forever. Just people just like lying and then showing a front, showing a front. Well, Got any other questions? Any other discussions? We got fan questions here. Fan questions. Yeah. What are your thoughts on? No, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, no, that was a dope way to end it off. Cool. Let's wrap it up right there. Splash, where can they find you online, man?
Just all my socials, rogersplash.com or rogersplashnote.com. Yeah, and that's coming soon. But yeah, Instagram, YouTube. Usually most active on Instagram. You can just find me there.
If you want to learn email marketing, hit up the boy.
Yes, sir.
He's got a ton of testimonials, a lot of happy students, a lot of happy clients. Learn from smart people, learn from their own mistakes. Wise people learn from other people's mistakes.
Come learn from mine.
Yeah. All right, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
See you guys on
Have a
next
great
one.
day. Peace.